Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Driver's Seat. This is the third episode of 2025. With me today, we have a returning face and a new face on the show. We got Elliot Lang and Elliot Lange and Brandon Gass. Say hello, fellas.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So we got a couple of things to go over this week. We'll make the weekly race recap pretty quick. Started out with the PPE Truck Series at WTT Raceway. You guys were both present, myself included. What did we think of that race?
Definitely one of the races of all time.
Definitely one of the races of all time, for sure.
Yeah, it was gosh, I don't remember how many cautions or anything there was, but
It was,
it-
it was, the usual, just couldn't stop having cautions at one point.
yeah, it wasn't great, but hopefully things get better. And then we'll quickly move on to North Wilkesboro as well, because that race actually started out pretty good. I think it was like 60 some odd laps with only one caution to start the race. And then after that it was kind of a little bit downhill.
Yeah, we had a stern drivers meeting before that race, and I think they actually listened to us for once. Uh, yeah, that was a better showing for sure.
Yeah, definitely much better from them, I'd say, compared to the last time we were at North Wilkesboro. Similar amount of cautions as last time we were there, but I felt like the overall racecraft was better in the span of the cautions. It definitely started out much, much better.
Yeah, it started out great, and then, like I said, it went kind of downhill a little bit. Daniel Michel came away with yet another victory. He has, I think, already 6 wins on the calendar year. Yeah, 6 wins and only 8 starts in 2025. It's only been 28 days, and that man is racking up wins like crazy. And alluding to Daniel Michel, and well, if you've seen us on socials and Twitter and Instagram, you'll know what we're about to be talking about, and that's why Brandon is here actually to talk about the future of the touring team. Just announced today, if you're watching this when it came out, would be yesterday, that himself and Daniel Michel and Kyle Brissell are going to be pursuing the ARS Next Up series.
Yeah, so me, Daniel, and Kyle will be entering the ARS Next Up series. It's kind of their Xfinity series to their main series, which is the Cup series. And you have to go through the Next Up series to get to the Cup series. Um, Last year we won the championship with Peter in Real Sim Racing. So that's pretty crazy that we won that big of a title in our first season. We're looking to, I don't know how do we improve upon that, but we can have all three of our cars top three in the championship. That would be something. But yeah, hoping we can do good in our duels. Uh, should be tomorrow. Well, today if you're watching the when this drops. But we have duels for Daytona. Uh, it'll be a full grid of 60 cars for Daytona, and that's the only race that's going to be more than 43. Um, and yeah, I'm just really excited for this season. Hopefully, everybody keeps turning out for every race like that. If we can get full races like that with full grids, that would be incredible.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like you said, 60 cars. I think 68 signed up, and so 8 people going home. 60 is going to be. I hope it's decent. I hope it's not insane. If you're listening to this, it's probably happening here in an hour or two, if you're watching live. But yeah, let's talk about the RSR Cup Series. So it was the final season of that league last year. It was your first full year in a competitive like iRacing online league. How was that experience for you?
It was a big learning experience. I learned very quickly that being good in iRacing officials doesn't equate to league racing. Um, that being said, that was a tough way to get into league racing with being in my opinion, what was the second tier league behind the Pro Series, behind the actual Coke Series. I think that was as far as driver skill and talent throughout the field. The guys that were competing at the front, I think that was like the second level, like other than contender and all those series to get to pro. Um, and it was a steep learning curve. Pete helped me as a spotter for the first kind of, I forget if it was the first half of the year or the first 33% of the year.
It was a good
And
10
then
races,
he
I
ended
think.
up entering, yeah, and he ended up entering as a driver for the rest of the season, and he just put a whooping on all of us really for the rest of the season. Um, yeah, I learned a lot from Peter though. Was able to have his telemetry and everything every week for practice and whatnot, and I tried my best. I did as best I could. I didn't win a race, but I came close. Should have won, in my opinion. Should have won Las Vegas. Finished second there at the start of the year, third race I think, and should have won. I could have had a chance to win at least. Darlington, the throwback race. Running second at Agnell, I mess up my pit entry, miss the cone, and get a 40-second hold, and that was my race over. Really, after that, came back for a top 7 still, but that was it with no cautions. But yeah, disappointed I couldn't get a win in RSR's final season, but I'm looking forward to getting that first win here pretty shortly in the next up series.
Yeah, and I think another one you almost had was Atlanta, the first Atlanta race. You were running second or first, coming to the white flag, and then there was a big wreck. It involved you.
Yeah,
It
you're
went
right.
green, white checkered,
Yeah,
and you ended up finishing, you know, 20th or something.
yeah, yeah. I remember that. Got turned on the front straightaway.
Yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking. A lot of close finishes, a lot of, like you said, a learning experience. So last year you were going in as the rookie, the bright-eyed and bushy-tailed
Yeah,
driver.
guys going against guys that are definitely above me. Agnell is a pro, becoming a pro. Peter's going to be a pro. Going to the Coke Series, so like the guys are clearly better than me. I was just throwing myself in the deep end. And Agnell had been racing in that series for almost like a decade. Um, so yeah, it was getting lapped by him every week was definitely a learning experience, humbling experience.
Yeah, you did pretty good. You ended up making the final or the round of 8, just missing out on the final 4. You ended up eliminating Andrew Finosh. I think he was a 4-time Cup champ or
Yeah,
RSR Cup
four-time
champ.
champion. Got that on my name card at least. Eliminated the four-time RSR champion. But yeah, I had a really consistent year. Just didn't quite have the top end, like just the overall pace to win races, and that's what I was lacking really.
Yeah, I mean you were there a lot of the time. It just, like you said, first of all, a lot of those guys are insanely talented. Looking back, just an insanely deep field. But yeah, let's I mean, going into, like you said, the ARS season coming up here, starting of course today. Um, you're now the vet on the team. You got Daniel Michelle and Kyle Purcell. Um, you know, they're looking at you to see what's going on and how to do things and telemetry and all that kind of stuff. How do you feel in the leader role, if you will?
I feel a lot more comfortable going into this season, not only because of my last year getting RSR, but because I feel like I can help Daniel and Kyle get better, and also the the way the next up series works is we're going to be using the Gen 4, the Arca. So Gen 4 and Arca is the same car, but the Gen 4 has more horsepower. So we're using both of those cars, the Gen 6 and the truck and Xfinity, and all those are my best cars. I feel like I'm not really good in the next gen, so I feel like I can really like teach people a lot in those cars specifically, and the schedule looks amazing. All the tracks, the races, I like how they put together the schedule. Um, yeah, I'm just really excited for this season. Like you said, we're all gonna be sharing telemetry data. If I'm sure they probably already know, but if not, I'll teach them how to read the throttle traces, all that on Garage 61. Uh, and yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season. So you mentioned it's their Xfinity series essentially, and ideally all 3 of you would get promoted to then the Cup series in the latter half of the year. I think this first season ends in late May.
something like that. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I think it's something like that. Ends at Charlotte in late May. So hopefully you guys all get promoted. 1, 2, 3 in the championship would be pretty ideal. You've of course already qualified for the duels coming up. What do you think of the strength of field just in general for the next up series? from what you've
I
seen?
think I just from the sheer amount of people that are showing up, it's gonna be pretty strong. Um, and we have people from all types of skill level that I don't think there's a minimum or maximum. So it's everyone that knew about it ended up turning out, and we had a really good show out for this first race. This is the biggest show out I've for a race that I've ever seen or been a part of personally, at least. Um, and yeah, I'm just really excited for it. Having a full grid of 60 cars on track at once at Daytona is going to be absolutely epic. I hope everyone tunes in to watch.
Yeah, I hope they can keep it clean. That has the the recipe for disaster, but it would be cool if it wasn't a crash fest.
Yeah, hopefully it's not crash fest. Hopefully, everybody just kind of logs laps when for the actual race, not the duels. The duels are going to be pretty crazy, but for the actual race, if everybody just logs laps for a while, we could probably get through it with 60 cars. It'll just depend. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the duels are going to be important. Obviously, being at the front is important at any super speedway race, but
And
especially when you got 60 cars.
with that many people, it'll probably make it tougher for me, Daniel, and Kyle to find each other. But our plan is definitely to find each other in the duels and the race, for sure. We're gonna try to work together. So
You guys are all in the same duel, right?
yeah, we are in the same duel. We are. I forget which duel is. I don't know if it's duel 1 or duel 2, but we all three are in the same duel, which is pretty cool.
Well, that's good. Ideally, then on paper, it would that's your best opportunity for a duel is to work together.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario for our team at least. So yeah, hopefully it'll work itself out in the duel. Hopefully we can avoid all the chaos that I'm sure is probably going to happen.
Yeah, and that race will be going on, like I said, after this drops and during the same more or less time as PPE Truck Series. So gonna have to have multiple screens up if you want to catch PPE Truck Series and the ARS Next Up Series duels. But yeah, Elliot, do you have anything to add to the upcoming season of ARS?
I'd say that from what we've seen of both Kyle Purcell and Daniel Michelle in the Vantage series, they are very strong drivers. I mean, think back to Zolder a couple weeks ago in the Truck Series. Daniel picked up the track 20 minutes before the race, and still went out and set faster lap times than even I've seen as a road guy in that car track combo. And on the oval side, I mean, complete dominance and just mastery of stock car racing as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both pretty great. Brandon, you've raced against both of them in your limited starts you've made in Vantage. You won at Talladega. You had to get past Purcell to do that. And then, again, Purcell won at Pocono when you were there as well. And
Yeah, I
then, of
think
course,
they're
Zolder.
second at Pocono. Yeah, they've really impressed me when I've seen them, personally while I'm on the track. The way they move, the way I can see them thinking, like what they're thinking when they're driving, like how they're driving. I can just see what they're doing, and it's they make mostly like 99.9% of the time they're making the right moves at the right time. They're really smart, and yeah, I think both have a lot of potential. Um, they're not, a big fan of running officials for iRacing, but I think they could both be of 6K iRating if they really put their mind to it.
Yeah, and this is kind of what it's all about. Like you said, you noticed them on track, and this was October of last year. You were still running. RSR Cup Series was still live at that time. We both had our eyes on these guys from a very early stage, thinking about this season, what we're going to do for 2025, and those guys kind of stood out more than anyone else.
Yeah, and it became pretty apparent pretty soon. Like once we learned that RSR was going to end, we had to find a new league, which took a while. But we kind of already knew once RSR ended, you know, who my teammates were going to be the following season. We kind of already knew that Daniel and Kyle were going to be the ones.
Yeah, and they proved a good decision. Like I said, Daniel has already won 6 races this calendar year in Vantage, and then Kyle Purcell won at Daytona in the Truck Series. So yeah, they're both doing really strong. I would, not to sound like to play favorites, but they are probably objectively the 2 top drivers right now in the Vantage iRacing side of things. Consistency wise, performance wise, results wise, it's always. I mean, you can watch the broadcast. It's always seemingly Michelle and Purcell 1 and 2. Sometimes Sean Purcell, but still.
Yeah, and they're both just really good dudes, and they're you know really smart, and yeah.
And they're up for it too. We had the whole contract signing thing, and they could have easily said, no, it's not really for us. But they're both up to the challenge. They know it's going to be probably a little bit higher competition level than what they're used to. There's a good chance, especially if they both get to the Cup Series. So, it's going to be a great learning experience, like for them, like it was for you last year.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a big test for them. It'll be higher competition than what they've been racing with here in the Vantage series with us. Um, but I'm excited to see what they can do on track. I really think that they can do it. So we'll see.
Yeah, especially as the season goes on. Daytona, kind of anything can happen. Of course, the best drivers do end up at the front more times than not. But of course, you still got to be lucky a little bit at super speedways. So as the season goes on, I think these guys are going to see that they can't just go out and dominate. Maybe like they're kind of starting to get used to right now. So they're going to have to work for it a little bit harder.
I think it'll take a few weeks for us to gel as a team and to learn our dynamic kind of in the races. I don't think the any of the three of us are going to have a live spotter, so we'll probably be crew chiefing and stuff. Doing strategies and stuff for talking for each other for all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic changes and works itself out over the season.
Yeah, it should be fun. Well, absolutely. Best of luck. Let's go ahead and move forward a little bit. Let's take a look at the Forza races from this past week. We had Friday Night Fenders, of course, on Friday. The first short track of the season. It was at Eagle Rock. And again, it was Loud Balloon coming out on top. And again, it was Clutch coming in second. That is, I think, 3 races and 3 consecutive second places for Clutch. And then the drop races are going to come to effect too. So 12 races, only your 10 best results count towards the championship. So right now, Loud is leading that championship, back-to-back wins, and it's also boosting him up in the power rankings. We'll see that a little bit later. But good run from Loud, a good run from Clutch. Relatively caution-free race. There was a couple of cautions, but not a crash fest like you might expect from short track. But another good race. And then on Sunday, there was the Retro GP and another win from Dutch. He is starting to turn into one of the best drivers on the non-PC side of things. Although he could be on PC technically, it is Forza is also on PC. I'm not sure exactly what console he's running, but nevertheless, he is turned into one of the best drivers in the whole scape of Vantage right now. He was second in the power rankings coming in. I think he's still second. Speaking of said power rankings, if you guys want to go ahead and let's actually have a look at those power rankings, if we can't, to round out this episode. Oh, excuse me. So we have, let's take a look at that real quick. Top of the leaderboard, Daniel Michel, of course. 6 wins and 8 starts. He hasn't finished lower than third this entire calendar year, which, again, only 28 days. But, yeah. Dutch in second. Labalune up another 7 spots with a second win. Hightower in fourth. Kyle Purcell in fifth. Kurt Bray. So Hightower, Purcell, and Kurt Bray all went down a spot with Loud moving up. Country Pepper still in 7th. He finished second again. I think he's finished second in every race as well for Retro GP. Sean Purcell up to 8th. Todd Lee down 3 spots, and Clutch down a spot. That's the top 10. We do have a ranking for every single driver in Vantage, but we only show the top 10. Elliot, do you have anything to add to the power rankings for this week?
I would say that, as coming from me as someone who's mainly focused on the iRacing side, that there's a lot of big names here and a lot of expected, but some surprises like generally when you watch the races, maybe the finishes don't reflect it, but I feel that Todd Lee is slightly higher than Hightower. But yeah, in the power rankings, that Hightower is significantly higher up than him. But then again, there hasn't been a lot of points yet this season. It's only been what 3-4 weeks. It's only been 4 weeks of 2025.
Exactly, yeah.
Still a lot to close in, but yeah, I feel like this is a pretty reflective in most regards. I definitely think Deutsch is definitely up there in terms of the non-iRacing side. He's definitely becoming so far this season, this calendar year, a favorite to maybe podium or win the power rankings if Daniel Michel stops racing for some reason or has some bad run. But yeah, I'd say a lot of big names here on the top 10, and a lot of close battles for those top 5 spots.
I would tend to agree with Elliot's take on Todd Lee being below William Hightower. Todd Lee's been really impressive. Other than outside of Daniel and Kyle in the truck series, I think Todd Lee's probably been the most impressive driver in the series.
I'd
Yeah.
even go to say that so far in this truck series that in general, Todd I feel has been better at many points than Kyle Purcell.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
I wouldn't say overall he's better. I'd say he's a very close third to Kyle's second, as Kyle as second. But I feel there are many regards in the race, whether it be, you know, strategy or just ability to handle traffic, that Todd is able to do even better than Kyle Purcell, who is one of our touring drivers, and he earned that spot fair and square.
Another one I feel that's too low is Landon Bednar's, but I know why. It's because he doesn't have that many starts. But I think he's pretty good in the races that he runs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Matthew Miles, if he ran more.
Yeah.
Hopefully me if I ran more.
A couple of these guys are just held back by the fact that they haven't raced a ton this calendar year,
Yeah,
anyways.
Brandon, just reminding you I am higher on the power rankings than you are.
Not for long, Elliot. Not for long.
Yeah, it would just can't be screwed.
Oh, do we got a beef part 2 already?
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually the heel. You know,
I
I was on
think
the fence about it.
I think this is gonna get settled after the podcast when me and Elliot run some F3 at Red Bull Ring.
Oh, I did run that. I did try and beat that lap time you asked me to.
And
24.6.
okay, I can beat that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was only second faster than you.
throw it down. Oh, he said that like so passive aggressively.
Only 6 tenths actually. But yeah, I can gain 6 tenths pretty
Yeah.
easily.
All right.
Is there anything else you guys want to add to the end of this episode before we round it out?
Yeah. Brandon and I, though we seem at odds right now, we are actually close friends, and we are proud to announce we will be starting a podcast focusing on the IndyCar series, Indy Insights, coming to you Wednesdays. Yeah, episodes go live Wednesdays. They're following the IndyCar schedule, as well as some interviews with notable figures in the motorsports industry, such as McLaren mechanics, NHRA team members, and relatives of drivers, as well as just my take and Brandon's take on the current IndyCar scene.
Yeah, we have a pipe dream of getting Mario Andretti on the podcast, so maybe one day if that happens, we made it if that happens.
It's
Yeah, absolutely.
very possible. Speaking of IndyCar, should we take this time to officially announce the Vantage Indy Special Series?
Well, I feel like you just did that. Yeah, Vantage Indy Special Series is been finalized. We are looking for a season start on March 29th. It will be Saturdays at either 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These are longer races, you know, all ultimately culminating at the midpoint of the season, or kind of more at the 30% mark, to start and close out in Vantage Week with the Vindy 500 qualifiers, and then to end it off the Vindy 500 itself on the day Vantage was founded, June 21st.
Yeah, we have that meeting we had the other day going over the idea of bump day and qualifying. Oh man, the scenes that could potentially take place if you're listening. 1, sign up. 2, tell everyone you know about it. 3, sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Yep. Yeah, there will definitely be a show to enjoy. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So keep an eye out if you're in the servers or on socials. We'll be announcing everything very soon. We have a very talented graphics team working hard round the clock. Maybe not round the clock. Maybe halfway around the clock. But still, it's going to look nice, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be very professional, and it's, lots of potential to be the biggest thing we've ever done.
Yeah, one of the main things with that series right now is we're exploring is we tried it out with the PP Truck series, and that is sponsorship. And on a tag along to sign up if you haven't. If you have maybe a relative owns a business, or you own a business and are fortunate enough where that's been successful enough you want to market it out, please reach out to us. We have fees we can present you. We have We sell last laps. We sell race ownership, quote unquote, series sponsorship, Vindy 500 sponsorship. There's many things for you, from very low fees to very grand big fees. Not big, but
It's affordable. I think it's all very
yeah,
affordable.
affordable. But yeah, reach out if you are interested in potentially having your logos on the inaugural season of the Vantage Indie Special Series.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be another Discord server. It could be a brand. It could be a business. It could be, I don't know, a Twitch channel. Whatever you want.
It can even be a picture of your own face.
It could be if you really want to have your own face as a 30-second ad, or the last lap presented by Elliot's face. I don't know. We could work something out. I'm sure. Everything has a price.
Yeah, everything has a price.
But yeah, keep an eye out for more announcements on that coming very soon-ish. But yeah, that's gonna just about do it for this week's episode. Anything else you guys want to plug before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'll be driving in that series, so that's why I'm working on my formula to get good at road racing. But yeah, hopefully we get a big turnout for that. I have big dreams for that. So yeah, hopefully we get everybody signing up. Hopefully we can get some socials going for that. But yeah.
I would like to plug the inevitable announcement in the coming months of the Vantage Boxing series after with the beef I've started
Yeah, we need to
these
get the
past
Vantage
couple
boxing
weeks.
ring going.
It's
I
just
was
I
excited
know
for that.
I know Chief and I have a bout scheduled, and it seems at this rate, Brandon, you and I might have something in the works.
Brandon might
Yeah.
get winner of that one.
Especially if I can't beat his lap at Red Bull Ring.
All right, everyone.
You're cooked.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks, Elliot and Brennan, for showing up to be the special guest this week. And we'll be sure to plug in, tune into the PPE Truck Series, the ARS Next Up Series, Friday Night Fenders, the VPS Series on Thursdays, Retro GP on Sundays. And follow us on socials. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Follow our Twitch. I think I got everything. That's just about it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.